Breaking geopolitical developments. The United States is moving what President Trump has described as an armada of warships toward the Middle East, focused squarely on Iran. But what does this show of force really mean? Is this the prelude to war or merely strategic signaling? In the past 72 hours, multiple major news outlets have confirmed that the U.S. Pentagon is ramping up its military presence in the Gulf and surrounding waters. This comes amid one of the most volatile moments in recent Middle Eastern history, marked by intense protests across Iran, thousands killed, and mounting fears of escalating U.S.-Iran confrontation. President Donald Trump has repeatedly said that a U.S. naval armada, a massive flotilla of warships, is being routed toward the Middle East. He described this force as a precautionary measure, but made it clear the United States is closely monitoring Tehran's behavior. Now, here's why this has caught the world's attention. This is not the usual routine rotation of naval assets. It is being interpreted as a deliberate power projection, a signal to Tehran that Washington remains ready to intervene if necessary. Trump's administration insists the deployment is defensive, intended to protect U.S. personnel and strategic interests, but opponents warn such a buildup can easily be misread by Iran or others in the region, especially when tensions are already high. Now, here's why this has caught the world's attention. This is not the usual routine rotation of naval assets. It is being interpreted as a deliberate power projection, a signal to Tehran that Washington remains ready to intervene if necessary. Trump's administration insists the deployment is defensive, intended to protect U.S. personnel and strategic interests, but opponents warn such a buildup can easily be misread by Iran or others in the region, especially when tensions are already high. The backdrop of this military posturing is Iran's internal crisis. Anti-government protests have rocked the country for weeks, beginning in late December and spreading nationwide. President Trump's messaging has been mixed. On one hand, he boasts about the U.S. fleet heading toward the Gulf. On the other, he insists he doesn't want war. In remarks after returning from the World Economic Forum in Davos, Trump said he hoped confrontation could be avoided, but reiterated that U.S. forces are prepared for action if provoked. He also claimed that previous threats of retaliation helped avert executions of protesters in Iran, a claim Tehran denies. Human rights groups estimate thousands of deaths from the crackdown, figures Reuters mentions exceeding 5,000, while independent activists place the number even higher. This unrest has been marked by widespread arrests, internet blackouts, and allegations of disproportionate force by Iranian security services. The situation has drawn global condemnation and raised alarms in Washington. The United Kingdom has signaled its own support, dispatching Eurofighter Typhoon jets to Qatar at Doha's request, a clear sign that Western allies are closely watching the situation. Meanwhile, Iran has fiercely rejected any notion of U.S. intervention. A senior Iranian official warns that any attack on Iran would be treated as an all-out war, and Tehran would respond forcefully. Experts are characterizing this naval buildup as classic deterrence. By moving a powerful carrier strike group into contested waters, the United States signals that it is serious, but still offers room for diplomacy.
Some analysts point out that such moves can prevent escalation by making the cost of hostile action clearer. Others warn that it risks accidental escalation, especially in narrow waterways like the Strait of Hormuz, a strategic choke point for global oil shipments. So the big question, is this the beginning of a military conflict or just posturing? There's no definitive answer yet. The U.S. emphasizes diplomacy and restraint, and Trump has publicly stated he doesn't want to use force. However, Iran's leadership has warned that even a limited strike could trigger widespread retaliation. The bottom line, even if neither side wants a full-scale war, miscalculations can be explosive, especially when both military assets and public rhetoric are heightened. Your next flashpoints could emerge from airspace incursions, naval skirmishes, or cyber dimensions we aren't yet anticipating. Here's what you need to remember. The U.S. has deployed a powerful naval force toward the Middle East. Trump frames it as deterrence, not aggression. Iran is on high alert and views any force movement with suspicion. The backdrop is a brutal internal crackdown in Iran that has drawn global scrutiny. This isn't just about military power. It's about credibility, deterrence, and diplomacy, all colliding in a volatile region. Where do you think this is headed? Will this armada diffuse tensions or escalate them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.